Indeed, greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you so much for joining me again on another video. I always appreciate your presence. If you enjoy what it is we're doing here, consider liking this video, consider subscribing, and do leave a comment. I try and answer every single one of them. Let's melt more into being. Man. I'm on day 3 of a fast. And today I'm definitely feeling like the weight of my own body, if you will. I'm getting to that point where I'm like lethargic almost. I feel like I'm moving slow. Like I don't have all of the vigor I'm supposed to have. And obviously I'm depriving my body of the energy it usually is used to receiving from the outside world. And now I am expecting it to utilize the energy it has been storing. So I can't exactly expect my body to be like all the way, on it. 100% energy capacity. But I am happy with the progress I've been making. Fasting is such an interesting thing as well, because you're basically just doing nothing, right? Quite realistically, fasting is nothing other than just doing nothing. You're just not eating. It's abstaining from behavior instead of forcing yourself to practice certain behaviors. And I feel there definitely is something to it, just in that fact as well. Since you're abstaining from something, you're choosing not to do something intentionally, even though you are so used to, and your body's default mode network is so used to continually doing this thing regardless. Sending energies, pew pew, oh, bzz, bzz. I need your energies, Toasty. I do need your energies. Man, like there's a bunch of stuff coming up this weekend. It's my birthday on Friday, so I have friends coming over for the weekend, and yeah, something needs to happen this weekend, and I'm fasting for it. I wonder where your imaginations are taking you. Some of you might know. Some of you might be able to deduct. Some of you will have absolutely no idea. And both of those are perfectly divine experiences. Become a superconductor to God's love. Something worth saying. Become a superconductor to God's love. So basically, what a superconductor really is something that conducts so well because it almost has no resistance. And I think the important emphasis on that little sentence is the word resistance. Because I believe most of the difficulty we face in this world is as a result, most of it, I can't say all of it, but as a result of that resistance that we face in our lives. And you all have experienced this resistance as well. When you have to get up to go to the gym, or you have to stop eating a certain type of food, or you have to start, developing your game, writing your book, programming, whatever it is. Before you want, and doing this thing would be something that is going to be soul-fulfilling, something that's going to be worth doing at the end of the day. And yet we still have that resistance to actually sit down and do it. And I feel that resistance, or at least that resistance getting the best of us, is where a lot of the turmoil we go through in life comes from. Because I believe there's layers to that resistance as well, and this is just my personal belief. There's no basis in fact, no logic to back it up even, but I feel that this resistance is like this encompassing field, almost like the bubble's membrane, and we are all living within inside of that bubble. So this bubble's membrane kind of wants to keep us within inside of the bubble, doesn't want us to escape it, doesn't want us to expand it. And it's because we're stuck in that our own bubble, basically, that we get so worked up, get so frustrated, because we feel like we're not doing the things our soul wants to do. And it's definitely something I've become more and more aware of. Are you going on a trip to a faraway place? Yes, Mr. Toasty. You know, I am going on a trip to a faraway place. Good morning to you all. Love you all. Love you as well, Ryan. Thank you for joining us, my friend. I appreciate your presence so much. So much? Yes, yes, so much. I do want to set an intention for why it is I'm drinking water today. I'm not sure what my intention has to be though. Maybe sustenance? Is that something to have as an intention? Because I definitely am hungry. But I'm hungry now. And I don't know. Okay, so again, like now, now I still have resistance, right? Okay, like this is what I'm feeling. This is the stuff that's coming up in my soul right now, where I am actively choosing to abstain from food so that my body can go through the process of autophagy, which means it uses all dead cells in your bodies and reutilizes them as a fuel source. You hear that bug? I'm not gonna let him leave. Hey dude, don't sit on me. Nah, bro. Hey oh. I think he learned his lesson. He's still getting close. Dude! I got him that time. Anyway, so your body goes through this process of autophagy, eats dead cells, and basically reutilizes them. He's back. I've knocked him like 3 times. You would think this bug would, be kind of discouraged from flying close to me. Like, I'm not killing him, I'm just knocking him away. I think he's gone now. Okay. Let's see if I start talking about fasting again, if he's gonna come back. The fasting bug. Maybe he wants to listen, maybe he's interested. So, your body goes through autophagy. Autophagy. Is it autophagy? Autophagy. Autophagy, yes, autophagy. And basically eats your own. He literally just came back! What dude? Man, this is so playful, and I understand what's happening, and it's making me laugh. Oh man, it's making me smile. Okay, autophagy eats your own body for a fuel source, and in this process of eating your own body, it basically cleanses you because it starts from this basis of killing all of the things that are already, half dead, and then reutilizing them. And then it switches over to ketogenesis, which uses your body fat as a fuel source. So quite literally, when you fast, you become very, what's the word I'm looking for? One with your own experience, I think would be a good word, because where you're normally consuming food consciously, and constantly as well, as a result of the way that you've grown up. Oh, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. People, like a lot of people, have a hard time fathoming going without food for an entire day. Never mind for a week, never mind for 21 days, never mind for an entire month. Like, it's very hard for them to wrap their heads around that. And for me, like, the coolest way of understanding it, and the reason I enjoy it so much, is because it kind of gets you to the singular point of your own experience, where quite literally the experience that you are experiencing, other than the water that you put in your body, is quite literally just you. The fuel source that your brain is using to think the thoughts that you are thinking is literally made out of your own body fat. You understand how, like, that is something, at least in my opinion, that is something that's very powerful as a practice. At least to do, occasionally, like once a year or something, as a mini ritual, if you will. Because it kind of re-reminds yourself of this, divinity, the single eye point of yourself. Like, obviously, your body would perish if you continue to fast indefinitely. Yes, that would happen. But realizing that you have this ability to fast, you have this ability to use your own body as its fuel source, is something that's so powerful to me, and something that really brings a lot of clarity to your current lived experience as well. And I think that's the part that makes it so amazing. But there is this resistance now for me to almost not eat, which means I have a resistance towards doing something, which is technically something that I usually enjoy doing. And we have these resistances to things that we, don't necessarily enjoy doing as well. Like sitting down and writing an assignment, for example, isn't necessarily something that we enjoy doing, but it is something that needs to get done, right? At the end of the day. But, and I was starting to get into this point a little bit earlier, the way I think about it is this layers. Like as soon as you pop the first bubble of membrane, go through the first level of resistance, then there's just going to be another layer of resistance. And your overcoming these resistances are basically the condition, the prerequisite to having more resistances coming into your life. So it's like this constant extending of your own possibilities. No. Hey Lisa, thank you for joining us. Well, hey Jovan. Jovan says, hello friends, I'm working and lurking today. Thank you for being a lurker, my friend. I appreciate your presence, even if it's a lurky one. Lucky Ducky, I want to hear all about it. Oh goodness, that's exciting. I'll tell you about it. I'll definitely tell you about it, Toasty. It's exciting, man. It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years, dude. I still haven't set an intention for why it is I'm drinking water and I'm getting thirsty. So my intention for drinking water today is to overcome resistance. The resistances I have towards the understandings I'm supposed to melt a part of my being, resistances towards the understanding of this world that I don't necessarily want to accept sometimes, resistances towards making changes, recognizing that I'm not doing everything perfectly correct and that there is room to grow. So every sip I take, I'll melt away all of the resistances. Nice. You forgot the monkey, never forget the money, is what you said the second time. Yeah. The monkey is asleep, dude. Wow, that's a record. It's only been 5 minutes in stream and we have a monkey comment. Yeah, it has been like really fast. Dyson, freaking Dyson. What do you do for work, mate? I'm unemployed. Dangerous Dyson. I'm pretty sure you've asked as well before. Still unemployed. No. Mel doesn't work, lol. His goal is to make no money this year of 2020. Yeah, Ryan is right. That is, I'm doing good. I haven't made any money. It's a weird feeling as well, especially since we have this incessant need. Like people thinking people think that they fall behind. If they're not grinding as hard. And there's this literal saying in this hustle culture as well, that if you're not working, someone else is, and they're overtaking you. Where are they overtaking me? Huh? Where are they going? Like where are they gonna reach? That is, going to be this place that I wish I reached if I just, did the same thing that they did. Because man, like whew. Now, like, I'm opening a bunch of cans of worms. People brag. And, like, I see this in my Facebook friend group as well. People that I used to go to high school with. Like, they're bragging about working 18 hours a day. And I'm like, yeah, that's fantastic. That's really fantastic that you have that drive to work as hard as you are working. But do you realize that you are celebrating the fact that you are completely and utterly a part of this system? Man. And I still am. I still have to eat food. And I still have to pay for this food with, currency. I just really wish it didn't have to be this way, We didn't have to have our entire lives, literally our entire lives, exploited for something as arbitrary as currency. Like imagine, okay, so just imagine your life, right? Imagine how much that experience would be worth. So, for example, let's say you have a being that can't see, can't feel, can't smell, can't touch anything. But this being has infinite currency. You know, all of the bitcoins, all of the dollars, all of the gold bars. He has everything, literally all of it. How much do you think that being would pay just to have this experience you're having right now? Sitting like let's go ultra like bland. Sitting in a small apartment in the middle of a big city with no friends, no you know the things we tell ourselves sometimes. How much would a being without these things that we take for granted pay just to be able to experience the very existence we're experiencing right now? Now, once you've realized that you would literally, quite literally, pay all of the currency in existence to have what you have right now, why are you throwing away what you have right now for peanuts, for nothing, for like the like, oh man, I'm getting triggered. I just wish people would recognize the divinity of their own lived experience more, to realize just how valuable you are, friend. You are infinitely valuable, and your experience is infinitely valuable. And by becoming more aware of your experience, you're quite literally giving yourself more of life. Just by making a switch in your mind, by being aware of the things you do, instead of, being automatic in the things that you do. And this is something I like to talk about, because it's something I fall into the pattern of as well. And like with showering, you have this pattern of showering. You have this pattern of getting ready in the morning, for example. Oh, I'm gonna, drink my coffee, eat my breakfast, get my clothes on, brush my teeth, get in my car, head to work. And then we do that over and over and over and over again. And we do it over and over again to the point where we get really good at it and we no longer really have to focus. Right? But the point is to focus. There is so much to focus on, and there's like quite literally an infinite amount of experience right around you right now. Right? Think about it. Like feel the material that you have around your body right now. And realize the reason you can touch it is because thousands and thousands and thousands of individual strings was sewn together in a pattern that made it something that is solid. And now you can rub your fingers across that. And if you wanted to, you could try and individually count each one of these, thousands, if not millions, of strands of material. And it would take you an infinite amount of time to try and experience all there is to experience with something as basic as just the clothes that you are wearing right now. I'm tripping, and I'm actually completely sober, because as a part of the fasting, I decided to abstain from smoking or taking cannabis oil before the stream today, or even smoking on stream today. And now I feel like because I'm not experiencing tetrahydrocannabinol, I feel like I am experiencing something else. I'm glad we have someone who knows and appreciates the monkey. Yeah, we know and appreciate the monkey. We do. Looks like you aren't at all one with nature today. Why do you say that, my friend? I'm curious. I don't feel like I'm not one with nature. I feel like I'm maybe more one with my own being, as opposed to being one with nature. And this is something I kind of thought about watching on Bee's stream today. She was just walking in her fields, like picking these random blue blackberries off of the ground. And like for some reason, like my brothers have been cooking meats and stuff and eating hot dogs. And I was like, man, that smells good. But I wasn't like, I want to eat that. And then Aunt B was like picking these blackberries from the ground, straight from the earth. And I was like, damn, that I would want to eat. And I feel like eating definitely is a real practice of becoming, in ways, one with the earth as well. Because quite literally, the things we eat grow out of this earth by utilizing the sun. And then we're just like, yeah, No, sugars. You don't even know what you're talking about. Do we all? Do any of us know what we're talking about at the end of the day, my friend? At the grand scheme of things, do we know what we're talking about? Because you can be the smartest person in the entire world, know all of the, physics formulas, know exactly how black holes work, know how stars are formed, and then all of that information could be completely null and void, completely useless, and just a dimension next to us or above us. So, do you know anything? Realistically, really? Do you know anything? Do any of us know anything? I don't think so. Hey, Dan. Thank you for joining us, my friend. I'm doing well. How about you, Dan? Thank you for the vibing. Coffee is the most important part of my day, along with a healthy dose of my Melt family. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you being here. I'm abstaining from coffee as well. So, yeah, it's been a whole slew of things that I'm fasting from. Good day, my friends. I miss being here with you all. Hey, Christine. Thank you for being here with us as well, my friend. We've missed you. We've missed you. Thank you for joining us again. I've been working so much lately. I've missed the peace y'all share. Well, we're always here, my friend, and we're keeping you in our hearts. Like there is no, separation from the divine heart, where the soul rests, where everything is contained, if you will. So we're here for you, my friend. I will look forward to seeing you the next time again. Yesterday at work, I had a great experience. No joke, I was thinking, and the customer thought I said something out loud. Literally, he heard my exact thoughts. Man, what a trip. I've had that as well, actually. Right. Like for me, it wasn't quite like that. It wasn't a customer, but it was at a music festival. And me and my friend Adam, we were dancing. And we were like getting tired a little bit. And we moved, like, the dance floor was here. And we moved to the side of the dance floor, to this side. And like I start talking to him, and I'm having a conversation with him. I'm like, no, 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 and he's like, yeah, no, 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 and I'm like, okay, and we stop talking, and I take this big toffee. Is it a toffee? Piece of taffy, like a big block, something so big that it like covers your entire tongue, and gets like pressed up against your like base of the roof of your mouth, right? I think that's what it's called. Anyway. So, like, you can't talk if you have it in your mouth. And after having this conversation with my friend, I take the piece of candy out of my mouth, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and he realizes what I'm thinking as well, with me being like, I wasn't able to talk, yet we've just had a conversation. And that was a complete trip. Hurry, Estian! People are gaining worldly and material possessions faster than you. Yeah, dude. Oh no! Oh no, I better go and get a job right now so I can buy myself that thing again. That's going to be obsolete in 2 years, so I can replace it with the thing that's better than that one. And then 2 years later again. Just proved to me even more how we are connected. And are one universe. I agree completely, my friend. I feel it completely that way. I feel the same way. I'm happy that you agree, Christine. Speaking of jobs, I've been invited to a quick call on Thursday for the job I've been interviewing for. Hoping it's a final offer. I think it will be. Like if it's a quick call, like if it was a no, Dan, it would be like they would be like, you know what? We thought about it. We called your references. We had all of these interviews. Like, thank you, but no thank you. A quick call, I think you're right with the final offer assumption. They're going to be like, okay, so we want to give you this job. This is what we're offering you. Do you accept or not? Like, there's not too much to be said about that, so. I'm sure, Dan. Man, that makes me excited, dude. Hey, Melt says, hey, Scarmelia, thank you for being here, my friend. I appreciate you sharing some time with us. Finger crossed for you, Poopsie. Yes, everyone, for a second at least, just cross your fingers for Dan. And then all of us just imagine him, bursting out in laughter with a big, joyous smile after knowing he has, received this job. That's how I'm imagining you. That's how I'm sending you blessings, Dan. Oh, I love that. I'm proud of you, Dan. I loved it as well. Yeah. Mm. Scar, I loved you sharing your book yesterday. You are an author. I didn't know Scarmelia was a writer or an author. What a trip. What book are you writing, Scarmelia? No. Thank you, management. Unfortunately, it's apparently a flop. No sales in over a month now. What's the book about, Scarmelia? I'm curious. People do use Facebook and other social media platforms to post false interpretations of their life. So don't sweat it. Remove yourself from the social medias like I did. Makes you so much happier. Yeah, my friend, I agree completely with that. I'm not too obsessed. Like, fortunately. Like, I'm not obsessed at all, actually. Like, I remember talking about, like, the reason you're saying what you're saying. Talking about people, bragging about working these exuberant amount of hours. Like, that's not what bothers me, my friend. What bothers me is that they don't realize what they're doing to themselves. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, my life is my life to live, right? I have to make my own choices, and I have to be responsible for my own choices at the end of the day. And I think that's definitely one of the things I struggle with, because I want to help people, and I believe that the things I believe are arguably better than the things I used to believe when I was a teenager. Having that depressed state of mind, having this obsession with the physical world, if you will. Like, since I came from that place, I feel very strongly that I now know I'm not in that place anymore, right? Because we know what depression feels like. We know what the mindsets and the feelings around life in general goes with that understanding of life, the depressed understanding of life. And having the understanding of life I have right now, I just wish I could just give this to all of my friends and family members and loved ones that have this, horrible experience of life, this depression. Because that's not what we want, right? We don't want to be depressed as individuals. That's the last thing that we want. But it is something that a lot of us face. I really do wish I could just take it out of my pocket and give it to someone. No worries, small stepping stone to a bigger plan for you. Yeah, absolutely. And Scarmelia, like, not a lot of people's first book instantly blow up. Like, some people write like 10 books before they have a book that blows up. So this is a great trial, if you will, for you to figure out how to do it. Thanks for all the support, friends. It's been a long process, so hoping for the best. It's gonna be for the best, I'm sure, Dan. Don't worry too much, my friend. There is a moving of cars right now, so it's making some noise. Do excuse it. Hello from space, friends. Hey, Galactic. Our alien friend is joining us. Hope that you're well, my friends. Take me with you. I'll carry you in my heart, Toasty, I will. I love the idea that food grows out of Mother Earth, and we as humans consume to turn it into pieces of ourselves. Hope that makes sense. Makes perfect sense, Ryan. We are quite literally doing that. And by consuming pieces, like, okay, so you can quite literally think of us as human beings as extensions of Mother Earth as well, right? Because if the plants are as much Mother Earth, then we are as much Mother Earth as well. Because quite literally, if you look at the very physical atoms, the molecules we are made up of, and you look at the primary molecules that makes up the crust of our planet, we are literally made of the same stuff. So we are the Earth, experiencing the Earth, consuming parts of the Earth, for the Earth to continue to experience itself. That's why I believe that, Mama Gaia has consciousness as well of her own. No. I agree with your perception of appreciating what you have in the moment, etc. But without work and without money, even some, then how is it possible to exist without living out of a tent or in the street, unless someone has inherited money? My friend, like, I know, Dyson, and Is it Dyson? Yeah, it is Dyson. Like the problem is, like I'm facing that as a reality as well. I'm facing the very real understanding that I can't continue to live with my parents, right? I've been living with my parents since I came back from China for about, it's going on 7 months now, almost 8 months now. And I don't like it's the last thing that I want to do is to continue to stay here forever. Like that's not realistic. But but I want to release my tension. That's the point I'm really trying to make, my friend. Like sure, you can still have a job and you can still do the things you need to do in order to earn a living. Quite literally, that's how they say it, earn a living. So you have to earn this currency just in order to survive, to live. And like the point I'm trying to make is to release this tension we have around the topic of money, around how we understand it, around how we feel about it, dust. Around how we treat people with it as well. Because you might know, friends, that when someone earns an exuberant amount of money, enough money to, you know, realize all of the things they've thought they wanted to realize, there definitely is this sense of superiority over people that don't have that, that haven't realized that in their own personal lives. And I believe at the end of the day, the reason that is happening is not so much because they, they are better, or they understand that they have something that others don't have, but because they think for some reason that they have more security, they have more safety, they have more power than other beings. And it's that power trip at the end of the day that is what corrupts us. And man, like this is something I felt within inside of myself as well, where I like during my teenage years I had so many like arguably evil ideas as to how to earn money. Like man, like I was doing programming and stuff as well, and like talking to my friends about writing an app that has like in-app purchases and stuff like that, so that we can exploit kids that don't know what they're doing, to give us their money. And I was like 100% on board to do that and to realize that as an idea, and a lot of people are doing it as well. It's the thing. Like there are so many apps that are making so many millions of dollars. But I just realized that I don't want to compromise my soul for this thing that is worthless. Realistically, completely worthless. If you had to have, 10 seconds to live, do you think for a second you're going to be thinking, man, I really wish I had 10,000 more dollars in my bank account, or 100,000 more dollars, or a million more dollars? Like maybe if you have a family that you want to leave money for, sure, you'll think that. But let's say you're the only person left on earth and now you have 10 seconds left to live. You're not going to for a second think, oh man, I really wish I accumulated more houses. I really wish I had more cars. I really wish, my friends approved of me for how much money I have. No, not for a second are you going to think that. You're going to wish you experienced more of this life while you had it to live. And that's the point I'm trying to make, Dyson. I'm not trying to make the point of, no more money ever, go and live in a tent, and just experience life that way. And you can do that, and that's going to be a divine experience as well. I just wish we would stop betraying our souls, the part of ourselves that are eternal, for something that is so temporary. Man, life. Good luck, bro. Good luck indeed. Isn't that a great experience? What got to me was the fact that I never ever seen this person before him hearing my thoughts. Like, I mean, we are at the end of the day not separate, Ryan. We're quite literally not separate. Like if we can, colonize our entire galaxy, which is a lot of space, 400 billion stars, that's a lot of space. We will have only colonized 0.0, I think to the power of 9 zeros, 1 of space. So, such a minuscule amount of it. If we colonize our entire galaxy, now imagine how small and close we are to one another living on this planet. There are trillions of galaxies out there. And even if we wanted to, the expansion of our universe is so fast that like 96% of our observable universe is no longer reachable. Even if we could travel at the speed of light, we would never be able to reach 96% of our observable universe. And a lot of the stars and the planets and the galaxies that we are seeing as well are artifacts, literally remnants of something that has long been gone, too far away from us to ever be able to reach it. This is a Kierkegaard video I watched recently that made these things very, very evident. And it's with understanding these things as well that we realize just how small our lives really are, how close we are to one another, and how we affect one another as well in this grand scheme of things. Killing one another about fucking gold coins, dude. Excuse my profanity. You can't live without money because that's the abstract system humans create in order to survive. Yeah, I know that, Toasty. I do know that. But we did the whole hunter-gatherer thing already. The problem is that the system is no longer a catalyst to survival. It's a worldly idol. Exactly. It has become this deity, almost. So, what I believe, the reason I believe it has happened in the way that it has, is because I do believe there is some sort of value system attached to this life, right? Some sort of right or wrong, but not necessarily as clear cut as right or wrong. It's more, taking more of the right path than less of the right path, in my opinion. And depending on which path you take, there is going to be an extension of love and of a hiring of vibrational frequency of your soul. At least that's the way that I feel about it. And because there is somehow intuitively this understanding of doing good things makes us feel good, doing bad things makes us feel bad, we understand that there is this, give and take to this system. The problem is humans have exploited that understanding and made a whole currency system around it. And because people have this intrinsic understanding of this value system of what is, good and what is bad, but they can't necessarily physically see it or understand it, and they see and understand this physical money system out there in the world, it becomes something that's very intoxicating of like, oh, maybe this is the value system I'm supposed to be following. And then people try to collect all of the monies. And it doesn't make a difference. If you collect all of the monies, you're still going to be the same person. The same I. Nothing is going to be given to you or taken away from you. Bill Gates and I've forgotten his name. What does Amazon dude? Jeff Bezos, sorry. There we go. Both of them were divorced. Both of them weren't happy in their romantic relationships. Literally the richest men on the entire planet. Why? You know why. You know why. It's because money doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference in the grand scheme of things. All that really makes a difference is our abilities to be consciously aware and present in this current moment. The book is a very dark fantasy type story set before humanity or morality. There's a plague causing insanity and violence, being even cannibalize their victims. It is a point of view of a 10-year-old boy who has to survive after his parents are afflicted. Currently working on book 2, actually. Book 1 was published on Amazon. That sounds pretty dark fantasy type story though, but it sounds cool. Thank you for sharing with me, Scarmelia. Depression is a battle I face every day. I have only learned that I have depression since January. It is a battle, my friend. It is a battle. And it's it's one I feel we make up, dude. And I don't mean to discourage or to belittle or to what's the word I'm looking for? Make it less than it is, if you will, to say it in so many words, of depression. Because I've been there as well. I've attempted to take my own life because of my state of depression. I'm not saying depression isn't something that is real. Definitely something that's very real. But it's no more real than this physical world we're experiencing right now. It's no more real than the very body that you have, right? What you are is infinite and eternal consciousness, awareness of I am. Am, is dualistic nature. Infinite I, is what, at least I believe, one understanding of God is. And it's in that understanding as well that you realize that like depression as well is just this another label, this other idea, understanding, story we tell ourselves about our lived experience. And it's just in realizing that the story we tell ourselves are so important. The patterns we practice basically in our heads is what makes our experience the way that it is. Hey, Aaron, thank you for being here with us, my friend. I struggle with depression as well, Ryan. I think definitely, like most of us, have to struggle with depression at one point or another. I think maybe it's like the part of the spiritual journey to have this state of depression so that we might liberate ourselves from it. Yeah, that's the word. Centuries of Darkness by Catherine Pace and Gabe Turner. Is it a dual written book? I'm curious, Carmelia. I feel you. I highly suggest daily exercise. That has made a huge difference for me and my depression. I felt the same thing, Aaron. Definitely. Like, exercise is a wonderful antidote. That's basically like one of the ways I got myself out of my depression. I started smoking bud, and when I started smoking bud, I was able to sleep again properly. And when I was able to sleep again properly, I had enough energy to do things. And when I had enough energy to do things, I started working out. And then when I started working out, I started feeling better. It was this whole, slew of happening to get out of the depression. It is work. It is work. The earth does not need to experience itself. We need to remember that. Like, there's no need at all, my friend. We need do nothing. Everything continues. We don't need to do anything. If I sit here and die here today, then everything is still going to be. Like, there's no going to be stopping of the being of things. I need do nothing, my friend. Aaron, you're awesome. I walk every day in the mornings to help with my depression symptoms. Also helps with my ADHD symptoms. I'm sure it does, Ryan. It definitely helps. Like walking, especially. If you can walk in a place that's like a park or something. I know in Montana. Is it Montana? Yeah, it's Montana. It can it's cold for most of the year, and you don't necessarily want to go out walking, but it definitely does help. Excellent. I'm glad it's helping for you. You too. I'm sure it will. Having a job and making money is perfectly fine, provided you have the right perspective about it. Do things in your own time and with the right intentions. That's paramount. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say as well, Dan. It's about your intention for doing these things. Like if you're... Yeah, I've talked enough about it. Yeah, I do agree with you. Dan, that's the best way to put it. I agree. Thank you, Erin. Wishing you a wonderful, loving day. There we go. Hey, Jessie is here with us as well. She says, howdy, friends. Fancy seeing y'all here. Yes. Who would have known? Who would have known you would have found us here? Making money for me, it was 18 to 25. Don't think less of me, everyone. But I helped sell goodies at festivals when I was a dubstep DJ. Oh, my friend, like, there's no judgment whatsoever, Ryan. No judgment whatsoever. Like, yeah, I think I should be aware of what I'm going to say next. Rather, not about your situation, but about the situations I've been through as well. That lifestyle was intense and crazy. It is way too much so. Thank you for the wholesome, my friend, and thank you for the tree hugs as well, Christine. I'm a lurkin, giving me the wholesome. Doesn't say anything, but just like slips me the wholesome award. Hey man, Bill Gates is going through a divorce right now. Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make, Ryan. Like, this dude has all of the money in the world. Like, literally nothing in the world that he has ever wanted, he wasn't allowed to have, right? And yet all of this abundance in wealth, it doesn't do anything for him in the abundance that is relationship, or sharing that relationship with one another, his wife. And like these things affect your kids as well. So it has overarching results or consequences. That's the better word. That's true, Mel. The one thing I do enjoy about me having depression is that I am not broken and I can change into what I want. Yeah, literally. We are these, molten bowls of liquid that can constantly shape ourselves, transform ourselves into different things. We just have to want to. I just wish I didn't have to take meds for my depression symptoms. My meds cost $78 every month. $78 a month. That is expensive. I've heard some ridiculous numbers though, Ryan. Like people paying $20,000 for a month's worth of medication, where they have like rare diseases and stuff. We have a lot to be grateful for, nonetheless, Ryan. Even with the $78 prescription medication, like it's not possible for me to say, don't take antidepressants. But the problem with antidepressants as well is that they are SSRIs, serotonin SSRIs, right? Or SRRIs, serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Where's the second S? Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. That's what it's called. So a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor does exactly what it says in the name. It inhibits reuptake. So in our brains, we produce serotonin naturally. Well, technically, most of our serotonin is produced by our guts, but we have this serotonin molecule within our bodies and in our brains. And this serotonin molecule allows us to communicate in the way that we do, to articulate in the way that we do, to understand one another, and to share that experience with one another as well. I believe serotonin is the information that you get from the world as well. So depending on how you feel about things, right? I think that is a result of the serotonin that your brain produces or releases. But a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor chooses certain sites or certain, usually sites on your brain, to force your brain to not release the serotonin that it uses. So instead of it being in the way that it's not naturally supposed to be, where your body produces serotonin, your brain utilizes that serotonin for a little bit, then it releases from your brain's molecule or your brain's receptors. It gets broken down and then it gets reutilized. Where if you use a reuptake inhibitor, so cocaine and MDMA, both of these are reuptake inhibitors. Cocaine on the side of dopamine, MDMA on the side of serotonin. They force your brain to utilize the molecules you already have in your brain, but it utilizes them to the point where it destroys them. And then it becomes a dependence thing, where if you stop taking your antidepressants, now quite literally, your brain has less capacity to hold on to the serotonin molecules that it had left after having the serotonin molecules it had destroyed by a reuptake inhibitor. So, yeah. I don't know what to say. I'm not a medical professional. I am just a kid sitting in the middle of nowhere. I don't know anything. mm. I did all the actual writing. He helped me keep it linear. Also, my last name is pronounced like food peas. Oh, okay, peas. Okay, thank you for telling me, my friend. There's a saying that goes, "The shadow proves the sunshine." I feel like being depressed provides you with the context to understand the beauty of life. I agree completely, Dan. I really do agree. And it's that realization, the context, if you will, understanding the beauty of life, that is almost, enlightenment in its own. And you wouldn't have that enlightening experience if you didn't have the depression in the first place. Thank you, Dan. That's a perfect way to put it. Brought tears to my eyes, brother. I think so as well. Hey, Trevor. Thank you for the wholesome, and thank you for the all-seeing upvote as well, Scarmelia. Hello to you as well, Trevor. How are you feeling, my friend? my meds would be just under, yeah, $1,500 per month if my insurance didn't cover it. So I get you $1,500 a month for medication. Like, that is, again, that's just the medical system that's so fucking wrecked. I don't know if it's true, but I read that Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos got divorced to protect their wealth and put some assets in their wives' names. The system is. I don't. I don't doubt that at all. Actually, Jesse. Man, that's it. That's a little bit of a yikes. Yeah. Ooh. That's a big yikes. I was on SSRIs and anti-anxiety for a year. Just made me a foggy, numb, emotionless zombie. I couldn't take it anymore. I would rather feel my dark than feel nothing. So that's what I felt as well, Toasty, when I was on SSRIs. Like, it didn't only do that to me, like make me feel foggy, numb, emotionless, and zombie-like, but it also gave me night terrors. So I would feel like nothing for the entire day, and then I would try and sleep. I would struggle to sleep because I had an SSRI on my body as well. So it's like being hopped up on drugs, quite literally. So I couldn't sleep, and then when I eventually fell asleep, like 1 or 2, 3 a.m., I would wake up like 2 hours or 3 hours later, screaming myself awake, quite literally, like screaming myself awake. And yeah, I was heading towards disaster. So I also, in the same way, had to stop that. And like when I went to the doctor and I told him the same thing, Toasty, of how I was feeling and these night terrors that I was having, he was like, the only thing that I can genuinely recommend to you is weed. And my dad looked at him like funny, and I was like, I've actually genuinely considered doing that as well. And maybe maybe that was my intention for the first time I ever smoked weed, is to help me with these depressive symptoms. And for that reason, that is exactly what it opened onto me, opened bought on my that was the revelation that I got, if you will. You're right, Meld. The way my doctor puts it, is that my brain stopped making serotonin, and I have to take meds to get it back to a healthy level. You see, I'm not I'm not a medical professional, and I'm not a doctor, so I can't say what your doctor's saying is incorrect or not. But I don't think SSRIs do that. Unfortunately, like, SSRIs don't have the function of bringing things to a normal level, because unfortunately they are what they are. They're reuptake inhibitors. That's what they do. They force your brain to use the serotonin you have longer, which can be something that's necessary. But, like, you know what? I don't know anything. I'm not gonna continue talking about it because I feel it's a very dangerous topic to talk about or to say anything about, because I do genuinely not know everything about you, about the substance that you're taking, the SSRI that you're taking, or about, what your doctor knows about all of these things as well. So I think it's better for me to not say anything. MAOIs. I know what an MOI is. An MAOI is usually something that helps, I think, also with the reuptake of serotonin. But I don't know if it does it in the same way that reuptake inhibitors does it. I feel MAOIs make your own serotonin more bioavailable, right? Is that what it does? I think that's what it does. The meds has changed and helped me so far. I don't want to take them forever, but the doctor said might have to because my brain doesn't make serotonin. I don't believe your doctor, Ryan. Oh, like, if you didn't produce serotonin, you would literally, quite literally, not be able to get up from bed. So your brain does still produce serotonin. Maybe not as much as it's supposed to. But remember as well, your brain isn't the one that primarily produces serotonin, your body is. And that's why diet and exercise is so important. Because if your body is healthy, your mind is healthy as a result of that as well. And the things you put into yourself and you eat quite literally become you. Yeah, like, serotonin is a complicated one. I get that's a big yikes, extra large yikes. Yeah, man, it makes me sad as well, Jesse, because these dudes have so much money, like an absurd amount of money, and now they're utilizing these loopholes to extend their wealth even more, and it's a yikes. I get night terrors as well. Just happy I don't see the lady in the dark that would sit on my bed when I was a kid. Yeah, that sleep paralysis demons. Yep, got stems as well. It took a long time before I found a medication that works for me. One medication actually made me go into a psychosis. I stopped eating, sleeping, and talking to anyone. I even blacked out and attacked my then boyfriend, now ex. Like those medications, like the problem is as well, it's a blunt instrument. Like these things are like throwing a blanket over your brain. It doesn't know how to do for you exactly what you need, and that's the problem with SSRIs as well. I think if we were at the point where we could customize, the drugs we put into people to their physical beings, like I think then I would have less of a problem with prescription medicine. But the problem is prescription medicine are these produced and manufactured medications, and they are produced and manufactured to be sold. So if your doctor signs you up for an SSRI, he gets commission for doing that. And then every single time that you have to go back and pay your $78 or $1,500, that's money in the bank for the people that are producing these medications. So I'm gonna get myself cancelled or something if I continue talking about this. I had to be locked in a back room until I came out of it because it took 3 people to rip me off of him. To this day, I don't remember it happening. Goodness gracious. I take atomoxetine for my depression. Melt, I love the insights you give me. Don't feel like you have to hold back ever. I love you forever, brother bear. Thank you, Ryan. Like this is something that's sensitive, dude, and the reason I feel so sensitive about it as well is because I was there. I was on those medications. I know what it feels like to be on those medications. I know what it feels like to not be able to sleep, to wake up in night terrors, and I don't think it's what we're supposed to be experiencing, my friend. SSRIs are a tricky thing. I used to be friends with someone whose entire family suffered from clinical depression. They had like hereditary serotonin deficiency. SSRIs helped a few of them, but it was never a perfect fix for them. Again, Dan, the reason why it won't be a perfect fix is because it's this blunt blanket instrument that they throw over the entire population and then expect some of it to work. Doesn't work like that. Like we are very complex as human beings. The way our brains work, the way our guts are organized, the foods that when I say guts, I mean quite literally the microorganisms that live inside of our guts. So I should probably say microbiome. Our microbiomes are quite literally these factories of enzymes that produce chemicals for our bodies as well. And depending on all of the food we've eaten in our entire lives, our microbiomes are going to be different because we've quite literally fed it other things than everyone else was eating. And for that reason, it's impossible to have one medication that works for every single person. Lee was on SSRIs for years, but finally found what I really needed was the spiritual path that we are on, in addition to exercise, a much better diet and meditation. I finally was able to get off them completely 2 years ago. I'm so happy to hear that. Lee, it makes me really happy to hear that, my friend, and that's what I believe is supposed to happen as well. As you said, it doesn't come by itself. You have to spend that time exercising, taking into consideration your diet. I feel for me as well, pursuing the spiritual path has allowed me to escape these depressive symptoms as well. Like for me, and the reason I feel it helps me to escape these depressive symptoms is because for me, every time I realize what spirituality is for me, it kind of reminds me that I am loved. Quite literally, if I wasn't loved, I would not be. If God, for a split second, ceased to think about me, love me in the way that I am right now, right here, I would just, you know, click or blip out of this universe. So the fact that you are means that you are loved as well, forever and for always. That's a good way to put it. Love you all so much. Thank you for helping me with all of the advice and support. I'm so grateful for you all. And we're grateful for you as well, Ryan. And the reason I feel so strongly about it is because I love you, my friend. And I want to see you do good. I'll stick with the green. You mean? Pretty much. Pretty much, Toasty. Like, I'll definitely stick with green instead of taking prescription medication. Unfortunately, many doctors want to keep us sick and addicted. Unfortunately, Jesse. And it's horrible to say that as well, because you don't want that. And I think that's the problem with our medical system as well, is it's this game, this like system that literally games people, even the doctors, into prescribing more and more medications, getting people more and more addicted. And the reason, and oh man, I feel like I'm stepping on actual landmines right now. But I'm walking forward, stepping on them landmines. The reason America has the opiate problem that it has is because of this system as well. Because people go for surgery, they have a lot of pain, they get prescribed opioids, quite literally opioids, to deal with their pain. Then, when their pain medication runs up, they go back, they're still in pain, they ask the doctors to give them another prescription. Oh no, you can't get another prescription of this for, this reason, or you don't have enough money, or this or that. And then people are like, you know what? Like, I really am in so much pain, and I've been using this medication for like 2 months, and I can't cope right now. And they don't want to sell me any more of the official medication. So what am I supposed to do? And then boom, people go over to, injecting opioids instead of taking it orally, because injecting opioids is significantly more efficient than taking it orally. And then boom, you're in that trap. And once you're addicted to opioids, the problem with opioids as well is that it's something that reduces the pain in our lives. And a lot of us are in a lot of pain in this world. We don't understand what's going on. We don't know how to cope with loss. We don't know how to cope with anything, really. And that not knowing can be something that's painful. But I think in realizing that not knowing is something that is, empowering even. I feel so bad. Like, it hurts. It physically hurts my heart to think of people that have these horrible addictions to a substance that's ruining their lives, and the fact that they got into this substance because of a broken system in the first place. Gotta feed that medical industry machine. Yeah. True. I'll take nature's medicine as well, Toasty. Nature has so many medicines as well. That's the thing. So happy for you, Lee. I am as well. This is the way it is. Where am I? You are, my friend. I am. You don't have to be anywhere. You just are, my friend. Remember that. My dad has 4 prescriptions from 4 different doctors for the same opioids. He went through 10 years of addiction and hurt a lot of people. Had to go to rehab twice at one time. He was taking 10 to 12 Vicodins a day, as well as Suboxone and Tramadol. I don't know those medications, but you quite literally said exactly what I was talking about with the opioid problem. And it's trippy because I'm only now reading your comment. But that's really what happens, Jesse. It's happening more and more as well. The doctors wanted to keep feeding him the drugs. He's 100% sober now. I'm so happy to hear that, Jesse. Like, wow. I'm like genuinely happy to hear that. It's terrifying as well. Being in that state for how long did you say? 10 years? 10 years. 10 years of opioid addiction. Unfortunately, your dad was, able to afford purchasing the actual opioids from these doctors, having prescriptions for these opioids. Because if they suddenly, in this 10-year spree of his, like let's say in year 6, they were just like, okay, no more, opioids for you, Jesse's dad, then what would your dad have done? What would your dad have done? A lot of people go over to, black market opioids, and that's the problem, my friends. That's the problem. My mom suffers from a painful addiction. I understand that pain. That pain is permeable, my friend. It's something we all experience. And numbing ourselves to that pain numbs ourselves to the beauty and to the love and to the excitement of life as well. And I think that's very important to realize, is that yes, you can numb yourself to this existence. You can numb yourself to the pain. You can numb yourself to the uncomfortability. You can numb yourself to the feelings that you don't want to feel. But in doing so, you're going to numb yourself from the feelings you do want to feel. You're going to numb yourself from the things you want to experience and enjoy in life as well. We have to have the contrast. The pendulum keeps swinging, my friends. Hey, Impossible Night says melt more. Good morning. Good morning to you, my friend. Yay for sobriety. That is not easy to come back from. 10 years of opioid addiction, and being able to overcome that is an absolute feat. No, and I don't know if this is appropriate to say, but I would love to congratulate your dad as well. But yeah, I'm guessing your dad wouldn't really want you talking about that on streams. So thank you for sharing that. Like, I mean, it's not gonna change anything. It's not gonna make a difference. But I appreciate you sharing that information with me, and for me to be able to absorb it, to feel what it feels like, and to appreciate your dad for going through that process and showing me that that is possible as well. Good day, Melts, is when it rains. Hey, my friend, thank you for joining us. There are some people who absolutely need these meds. Don't feel bad if you are one of them. It doesn't mean you are less than. It would just suggest trying other natural approaches to see if you can get rid of them. Exactly. I agree completely with that as well, Lee. And the reason I'm very against serotonin reuptake inhibitors is because we have plant medicines that mimic serotonin very similarly. I won't go into too much detail, but you could give yourself small doses of a plant medicine that has serotonin, which would quite literally give you more serotonin for your brain to utilize in your experience, instead of having to utilize your own brain serotonin in a reuptake inhibitor kind of sense. We have these medicines. They've just been made illegal because they work so well. It's amazing to hear you sober now. It really is. I feel you, Lisa. It's been hard as a kid of a parent with addiction. I have some traumatic memories of him. He doesn't remember a thing when I tell him about what he used to be. Like he was numb at the end of the day, and that's exactly, I think, why things happened, why things were said, why things were the way that they are. And it's that numbing of your life. And I feel that's really what opioids do, because an opioid is basically this molecule in your brain that tells pain to stop. And pain is this very visceral feeling, right? When you get hurt, you're like keenly aware of it. And taking that keen awareness away from you, I feel, is an absolute tragedy. They don't make money if you're getting better. Yeah, exactly, my friend. Thank you, guys. He's an amazing man. He's the best man I know. Was just a little misguided. Yeah, and he came back from it as well, which is the best thing ever, Jesse. Like having that triumph over it. Love you all. Hey, Space Bird. Thank you for being here with us, my friend. Facts. I had to pick my dad off the floor as a teen. Him yelling and screaming while detoxing off of the meds. Goodness. You are an absolute superhero, Jesse. I hope that you know that, my friend. I hope that you know that you're so loved and appreciated. Not only that, we can have a black market in the States for diabetes test strips. It drives me insane. Me too, Toasty. But what, like, this is something I had a chat with Jeff about. I had a chat with Jeff about, yeah, that's the correct grammar. We had a chat about, what we're supposed to do. Because we see all of this, injustice in our world. We notice all of the nonsense that's happening. But a lot of us feel so limited in our ability to change that, limited in our ability to make a real difference. And like there's this like feeling of like, oh yeah, we have to band together and just kind of steamroll over the old system. But that is a violent approach, and I don't want any violence either. It's difficult. I don't know what to do about it. Hopefully we'll figure it out in the next few years of streaming. Hello everyone. Hey Edmund, fall back asleep waiting for the stream, but I'm here now. Here you are, my friend, perfectly on time. Thank you for joining us. I hear that. Thank you for the hug, Space Burp. No. Oh, Jesse, so happy. He has a happy ending to all of that. I'm as well. Do you work a corporate job? No. No, I do not work a corporate job, my friend. I was wrapped up in addition to drugs and alcohol for many years. I've been sober 15 years now and active in recovery through sponsoring others who were trying to get sober themselves. I'm so grateful to no longer be living with the painful burden of addiction. I'm so happy you don't have to as well. And I'm so proud of you as well, Lee, for extending yourself in this way to help others through their addictions as well. Like that. That's noble, man. That is so noble. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for doing that and for extending yourself like that. I'm glad you made it where you are today and our paths were able to cross. Yeah, like we all like go through our own lives, right? We have these experiences. We grow up as kids with our own parents, and our own parents have their own neuroses and things that they do, and because of the things that they did, we kind of turned out in the way that we are. And now because we are in the way that we are, we can be for each other in the way that we are as well. And it's this constant extending into love, I believe. Impossible Knight says, Meld Moore, I agree with you 100%. The US and New Zealand are the only ones that do drug ads on TV. Yeah. Ask your doctor about this prescription medicine. Like, oh man, I didn't know I needed this prescription medicine. Good thing there was this advert to let me know about it. Jesse says, it's so important to support the person, my mom and us, stuck by the man because we knew who was underneath. Waiting through the addiction was worth it. It was hard for us all. Thanks for listening, guys. I never talk about those memories, but they made me who I am. Quite literally, Jesse. They literally made you who you are. And I believe who you are is it's like gorgeous, Jesse. Like you're beautiful. I absolutely love you, my friend. The things you choose to do, the things you choose to say, the direction you're studying in, the things you want to do with the direction you're going in. Like that to me, like again, like you can obviously get compensated for what you're going to do one day, Jesse. But you're not, at least this is the way I feel about it, like feeling your soul. You're not going into this direction because you're like, yeah, I'm gonna make fat stacks of money and that's why I'm doing it. That is the problem. Like if you're going into any direction in your life with the mindset of like, yeah, I'm gonna, it's gonna be so great just for me, then you're misguided already. It's very encouraging to hear your story. Gives me a hope for other friends of mine. Me too, Aaron. Like I want to ask as well, Jesse, if you're willing to share what pain did your dad go through when he got initially prescribed these opioids. Thank you for sharing. Man, like it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because a lot of families are going through that as well, Jesse. Like that's the terrifying part about it, is to imagine how many thousands, not even one or two, but thousands and thousands of families are going through that exact same thing as well. My family and friends have many addictions, and the ending is what the individual chooses. The ending is what the individual chooses. Like again, addiction is such a difficult topic. And the way that we understand addiction has been very misguided and wrong as well. And as Jesse said as well, the only thing that you can really do, or in her words, the most important thing that you can do is to support the person. Because I believe in society today, we have this tendency to cast away, members of society that have fallen into these addictive personalities or natures or circumstances. And it's that, casting away of, not looking at, ignoring of, that is hurting society as it is, that is perpetuating the problem of addiction, instead of coming to the point where we help these people properly and genuinely to overcome these things. We shun them. We don't give them jobs. We don't give them places to live. It's horrifying. I just want to help those who need it. I can see that, Jesse. You already are my friend. Know that. In this moment, you are already helping those who need it, and I appreciate you for doing that. He worked construction as a young man, and by his 40s, he had a slipped disc in his back and a pinched sciatic nerve. Those are hectic. He was in a lot of pain. The doctors put the big opioid band-aid on it. Yeah, and again, opioids treat the symptom, not the cause, right? And that's the problem as well. Like, I'm curious right now as well, Jesse. How is your dad doing now with his pain management? I'm curious. Oh, there we go. He's still in a lot of pain, but went back to school and got his master's in his late 40s. He's not a college professor. Wow. I mean, he's now a college professor. How cool is that, Jesse? That is fantastic, my friend. What a arc, actually. Going from construction working, hurting your back, opioid addiction, finishing your master's into college professor. What a superhero as well. Supports the most important action, and in some cases, the only action that others can do. I agree. I agree completely, my friend. Like, that is what we should do for one another. And we don't have to be addicted to anything in order to receive or to give that as well. Like, we can still be there for one another, and we can still, support one another in that way, regardless of the things we choose to do. Like, we don't have to be addicted to something in order to ask for support and for help from friends as well. And I believe that's exactly what we're doing in these streams as well. It's that, extending into one another's lives in a loving way. Because we can extend in any way that we choose to. Like, I can extend myself and, say something horrible to you. And that will be a creation, but it wouldn't be the creation that we want to put into this world. We want to create lovingly at the end of the day. He really should write the book. I read that book. His mom was a stripper and his dad was a pimp. He was a very physically abused as a child. Moved out at 16. What an absolute machine, Jesse. Like, man, the more I hear about this man, the more of a superhero he sounds like. Yeah, tell him he should write the book. That sounds like an amazing story. Goodness. 772 says, good morning from California. Good morning to you, my friend. Good morning to you. How are things in California? It must be getting nice and warm there, because it's getting nice and cold here. And he raised a kick-ass daughter. Yes, he dude. Like, the kickest of ass daughters. Damn it. Man, life is profound. Life is absolutely profound. We get to experience so much. Alright? We take almost all of it for granted. Because I'm cold right now, and I didn't bring a blanket close. So I'm gonna go get a blanket after the stream is finished, but it is an experience to be cold even. Like, feeling the cold in my skin. Technically, I don't feel cold on my skin, I just feel heat leaving my skin. I don't understand what it means to be a human. I'm still figuring it out, friends. I look forward to figuring it out with you. Thanks, guys. He's amazing. He really is. He's the most faithful and amazing husband and father. His whole life was dedicated to providing for us. It's exactly what I want to be as a father as well, Jesse. Like, and seeing stuff like this, like I look up, like my dad, I also look up to him in some ways. Like he has also been a loyal father and a constant provider to our family as well. And I'm very thankful that I got to grow up having an experience like that, having a strong father figure, if you will. Let me know when you figure it out. Thank you, Toasty. Maybe by the time we're like doing the 42060 or the 42069 stream, like when I'm 137 years old, maybe then I'll understand. He's happy with a Snickers bar and a soda pop. Man, I'll see if I can remember it. If I ever come and visit Jesse, I'll bring him a Snickers bar and a soda pop. I love you, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. It was a fantastic time. I love you so much, and I appreciate you being here with me in these moments, in these growth experiences, in these feelings. I feel inspired. Goodbye, my friends. I'll see you again tomorrow.